Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Grow Through It podcast. My name is Julia and today we're talking about how to make habits easier. I'm in a very busy season of life right now. I am doing 75 hard. I just moved into a new place and it's competition season at work, which means there's lots of travel and lots of busy days. Because of this, I have to be more disciplined in my habits. And I have found ways that make it easier for me. You can't just rely on motivation when it comes to habits. Motivation works great in the short term, but it does not work in the long term. You have to create discipline in order to stick to your habits and reach your goals. I used to tell myself that I was not disciplined, but the truth is, anyone can become disciplined, and it's all about the systems that you create in your life. It's not about willpower. One thing I really struggle with is snoozing my alarm in the morning and scrolling on TikTok in bed and just not getting out of bed and oversleeping. What I started doing to make it easier to wake up in the morning is I started charging my phone in the bathroom overnight. So I still have my alarm on my watch, and that's what wakes me up because I like my watch alarm better. It's more gentle. So I set my watch alarm, and then I set my phone alarm for 15 minutes later, and that is going off in the bathroom. So if my watch alarm goes off, I know I only have 15 minutes to get up and go to the bathroom to get my phone before the alarm goes off. And I want to stop it before it goes off because I don't want to wake Paul up. Sometimes I don't make it in time and I don't even remember my watch alarm going off. I'm that tired. But once my phone alarm goes off, I get right out of bed because it's loud and annoying, and I go into the bathroom and turn off my alarm. And then I'm up and I don't get back into bed. So that has made it so much easier to get up in the morning. And I'm actually getting out of bed at 6:30 instead of scrolling on my phone till 7 or 7:30. In addition to that, I also made an episode last week about how to improve your sleep. And all of those habits I mentioned in that episode also makes it easier for me to get up in the morning, go to bed earlier, and get a good night's sleep so I'm productive the next day. So make sure you listen to that if you haven't already. The next thing I do is I meal plan and I make a grocery list. So every Sunday, I write down what meals I'm going to make that week. So I used to just write it in my notes app. Now I'm using MyFitnessPal because I'm doing 75 hard. So I put in all of my meals and all of my snacks, and then I make my grocery list based off of that. I know if I were to not meal prep and I was just going to wing it every day, I would not be eating healthy. I would be ordering food. I would be going through drive-thrus, and I would just not have the motivation to cook. So what I do is I meal prep for 3 days at a time. I usually still cook my breakfast in the morning, depending on what it is. Sometimes I'll do overnight oats. But for the most part, I'll cook breakfast, but I'll have my lunch and dinner ready to go. And that way I don't need to cook every night. I have it in the fridge. It's ready to go. I have no excuse not to eat it. It also makes grocery shopping so much easier having an actual list going into it. Never go to a grocery store without a list. You will end up buying foods you don't need. You're going to end up forgetting foods and then having to make more trips to the grocery store, wasting your time. So I highly recommend meal planning and making your grocery list. And then if you want to go one step further, like me, you can meal prep as well. I know some people meal prep for the whole week. I don't really like this because then you have to freeze meals and I don't like to do that. So I just meal prep 3 days at a time. So I'm only cooking twice a week, maybe 3 times. So I'll cook on Sunday nights and I'll prep meals for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I'll cook Thursday morning before work. You could also do Wednesday evening, but I am working evenings, so that doesn't really work for me. So I'll cook Thursday morning for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is more of a flex day. I still plan out what I'm going to eat, but it is meals that are really easy to prepare. So meal prepping will help you eat healthier. It's going to help you stay more on track, and it's going to make your life so much easier. You're going to be saving money because you're not going to be eating out. You're not going to be wasting your time going to the grocery store multiple times a week because you forgot things. And you are going to just have so much more time in your day because you don't have to cook every single day. The next thing I do is I pre-plan my workout routine and I put it in my calendar. So it is an appointment in my calendar. So I do the same workouts every week. So every day is a different workout. For example, Monday is lower body, Tuesday is running and core, Wednesday is pull, Thursday is glutes and core. Friday, I usually run and do yoga. Saturday, I do some physio. And Sunday, I do push and a run. Plus all my outdoor walks, of course. So I put all of those things in my calendar and I have written out exactly what I'm doing for each workout. So my workouts stay the same, usually for a couple months before I change them. And that way, when you go into the gym or you go to your workout, you are not scrambling and trying to figure out what to do and wasting time. I know one of the biggest holdbacks for people not going to the gym is that they don't know what they're doing. So pre-plan your workouts and do the same thing every time you do that muscle group, just for the consistency and simplicity of it. And it's actually good to do the same workouts for a longer period because that's when you'll see the most growth. Another thing I do to make my workouts easier is I lay out my workout clothes. So before I go to bed, I put my workout clothes right beside the bed. And that way, when I wake up in the morning, I grab my clothes, I put them on right away, and then I'm just ready to go. So all of these things really help with decision fatigue. And I know a lot of people struggle with that. If you're constantly having to think about, what am I going to eat next? What am I going to do for my workout today? What am I going to eat for dinner? How am I going to prep this? Where should I go for groceries? It's a lot going on in your head, and it takes up a lot of mental space, and it's pretty exhausting. So having a structured routine and having things pre-planned, pre-made, and ready to go is so important. It will free up so much space in your mind, and it will just have you feeling more productive and more energetic. So those are all things that make habits easier. Next, let's talk about how to make bad habits harder. So number one is putting your phone away. Like I mentioned, I put my phone in the bathroom every night. That way I'm not scrolling right before bed, and I'm not scrolling in the morning, and I'm not distracted by it. Also, it helps me wake up in the morning because I have to go get my phone. Number two is apps off the home screen. So if you know you're addicted to certain apps, put them in a folder, like in a very random place on your home screen, like pages down. That way you're not going to see it and want to click on it. Another thing you can do with your home screen is rearrange your apps frequently. This will make it harder for you to figure out where those apps are, and then it won't be as accessible for you. You can also put time limits on your apps. Personally, I just ignore these. I think it has good intentions, but I just ignore the time limits and I just say no thanks. But there was a time where I got this app and I think I had to pay for it. This was like back years ago when I was in college. And there were certain apps that I set that I actually couldn't go on for a certain time. It literally wouldn't let me. But it was a different app and I don't remember what it's called. But if I figure it out, I'll let you know. It was years ago. But those are all great things to stay off your phone a little bit more. Another thing you can do is log out of certain apps so that you have to log in each time. This makes it a lot harder for you to go on these apps, and it's just an inconvenience. I hate logging into my accounts, and don't put it so you can just do Face ID to get in. Make it so that you have to actually enter your password manually. That makes it so much harder. The last thing you can do for your phone is turn your phone on grayscale. I've heard of so many people doing this, and it's just so much less appealing that it makes you not really want to go on your phone. I personally haven't done this. I'm don't think I'm on my phone too much, especially since I made the change to put my phone in the bathroom. So I have not done this, but I've heard of many other people doing it and they love it. I lost track of where we are, but the next thing is don't keep trigger foods in the house or keep them out of sight. So don't buy chips if you know that you indulge in chips. Don't buy chocolate if you know you're going to indulge in chocolate. You can have those things, but I feel like if you really want them one day, then making the effort to actually drive to a store to buy them is going to make it much less accessible for you. And chances are you're not going to want to drive to the store. And sometimes you are, and that's great. But keeping trigger foods in the house makes it so much easier for you to access those foods. I know when I have certain foods in the house, if I see them, I'm going to eat them. So I don't even buy them or I keep them out of sight. So putting it in the bottom of your pantry or the back of your pantry or behind things in the fridge just so you cannot see them. You can store snacks in hard to reach places like a top shelf or a cupboard you never use. Another thing with food is don't eat straight from the bag. You have to portion it out. I started doing this with popcorn because popcorn is actually pretty healthy depending on what brand you buy and it's not full of butter and chemicals. But I like Boom Chicka Pop or Lesser Evil. And what I started doing is I started portioning it out into containers so that I'm not just eating straight from the bag, because if I eat straight from the bag, it's all going to be gone. One thing you can do when it comes to your workouts is pre-booking your workouts or telling someone your plan. So having an accountability partner or booking your workouts and you have to pay the cancellation fee if you don't come. This makes it much less likely that you're going to skip your workout. Another thing to do with habits is you have to make it enjoyable. So listening to a podcast or really good music while you're walking. I found a great running playlist that I listen to when I'm running on the treadmill, and it makes it so much more fun and enjoyable, and it's actually making it easier to run. I also love to listen to podcasts while I'm walking. Usually I'll listen to a personal development podcast, but sometimes I'll listen to a funny one like The Basement Yard, and it just makes it so much more fun. I also like to call people when I'm walking. Sometimes I'll call my family or friends and just chat with them while I'm out for my walk. You can also make your routine feel aesthetic or calming. So romanticize it, make it a luxury. I heard this podcast the other day that they were talking about making things more enjoyable. I think this was a Mel Robbins podcast, and she had a guest on. And the guest said that when she was a kid, her mom used to put her V8 in a wine glass for her because it was so much more fun to drink out of. And like, what kid gets to drink out of a wine glass? So I've done this with other drinks, just putting them in a wine glass or a fancy glass because it makes it so much more fun and aesthetic. And then use products you actually like. So buy a cute water bottle, buy a cute journal. I love wearing certain workout sets. So I have certain workout clothes that are my favorite and I love wearing them, so it makes me want to go to the gym. So you just have to find things that make your habits more enjoyable and easier. And when you stick to a routine and stick to your habits, I know it can be hard in the moment, but if you apply these things, making things easier and then making your bad habits harder and making your habits more enjoyable, it's going to make you feel so good. When I'm on track with my routine, I feel so much more energetic. I feel so much happier. I feel healthier. I feel lighter. And it's just such a good feeling. And other people notice the energy too. I've had people tell me that they've noticed a shift in my energy. And when I'm not following my routine, I'm usually feeling pretty down about myself. I feel heavy. I feel bloated. And I just don't feel like myself. So I really hope you apply at least one of these things, whether it be to get off your phone more, go to the gym more, or eat healthy, whatever you're wanting to do. Apply one of these things and let me know how it goes. And if you have any suggestions on what makes your habits easier, let me know as well. I'd love to hear about it. You can message me on Instagram at growthroughit.pod. So that is it for today's episode. If you have any questions, you can send me a message on Instagram, or you can use the link in the show notes to anonymously ask a question or suggest a future topic idea. If you enjoy this episode, I would be so grateful if you would leave a rating or review and follow or subscribe, as it really helps my podcast grow, and share it with someone you think would benefit from it. Thank you so much for listening, and remember that you are worthy. See you next time.